The gunshot echoed through the Bellagio's underground parking garage before Mensah even registered the danger. Glass exploded from the SUV beside her, and instinct hurled her body behind a concrete pillar. Her laptop bag hit the ground, audit files scattering across oil-stained cement. 3 weeks of forensic evidence. 3 weeks of tracing money that didn't want to be found. She pressed herself flat against the pillar, heart hammering, and tried to remember how she'd gotten here. How a chance encounter in Vegas 6 months ago had turned into this. How the man who'd made her feel alive for one reckless night now stood at the center of a conspiracy that could destroy everything she'd built. But that night, that beautiful, terrible night, she hadn't known any of this was coming. 6 months earlier, the Las Vegas Strip burned with a different kind of violence. Light, sound, money moving through arteries of neon and glass. Amma walked through it all like a ghost, her phone pressed to her ear, listening to cousin Efua's labored breathing across 8,000 miles of fiber optic cable. The doctors in Accra were clear. Without the surgery, without the $40,000 that might as well have been $4 million, Efua had months, maybe weeks. Amma's visa was already stretched thin. Her work permit tied to a forensic auditing firm that paid well but not well enough. Not for miracles. Not for the kind of medical debt that swallowed families whole. She ended the call outside the Bellagio, where fountains danced to music she couldn't hear over the roar in her head. Inside, the casino floor sprawled like a country unto itself. She'd come to Vegas for a conference. 2 days of presentations on financial fraud detection. 2 days of pretending her life wasn't falling apart in real time. The hotel bar seemed as good a place as any to disappear. That's where she saw him. He sat alone at the far end, nursing whiskey like it owed him answers. Expensive suit. Expensive watch. The kind of man who should have been surrounded by people but instead radiated the particular loneliness of someone who'd spent too long being what others needed. Their eyes met across 20 feet of polished marble and something shifted. Not attraction, not yet. Recognition. 2 people drowning in different oceans, suddenly seeing another swimmer in the dark. Joon-ho didn't know what made him speak to her. He'd fled his own engagement party 2 hours ago, walked out of the private ballroom where Seoul's business elite celebrated his surrender. The marriage to Yoon Seo-rin had been arranged with the precision of a corporate merger because that's exactly what it was. Kang Group needed her family's media empire. His father needed heirs who understood duty. What Joon-ho needed had stopped mattering somewhere around his 25th birthday. He was 32 now. He'd forgotten how to want anything that wasn't on a spreadsheet. Until this woman with exhausted eyes and an accent that curved around English like music sat down beside him. They didn't exchange names. That was the first rule they broke. Amma told him about Ghana, about growing up in Kumasi where family meant everything and everyone knew your business, about coming to America on a scholarship and realizing that brilliance with numbers could be both gift and cage. Joon-ho told her about Seoul, about corporate dynasties and the weight of ancestors who expected perfection, about engagement parties where you smiled until your face forgot how to do anything else. They talked for an hour, then 2, the noise of the casino fading into background static. When he asked if she wanted to get out of there, Amma said yes before her brain could list all the reasons this was insane. They walked the strip like tourists, eating street tacos and laughing at the ersatz Eiffel Tower. Joon-ho bought her a cheap souvenir snow globe from a gift shop, and she shook it, watching glitter fall over a miniature Vegas that bore no resemblance to the real thing. Somewhere around 3 in the morning, they ended up at his suite in the Wynn. Floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking a city that never stopped selling dreams. He kissed her against that window, and Amma felt 6 months of grief and fear crack open. This wasn't love. This was need. This was 2 people choosing recklessness for one night because the alternative was suffocating. They made love with the intensity of the desperate, bodies writing promises they couldn't keep. Afterward they lay tangled in Egyptian cotton sheets, and Joon-ho traced the curve of her shoulder like he was memorizing something he'd lose. "What happens tomorrow?" Amma whispered. "Tomorrow doesn't exist," Joon-ho said. "Just tonight." She left at dawn while he slept, slipping out like smoke. No note, no number, no last name, clean break, safe, or so she thought. Back in Lowe's Angels, Amma buried herself in work. The auditing firm landed a major contract, some Korean conglomerate expanding into American entertainment. She barely paid attention to the details. Her focus stayed locked on Efua, on scraping together money, on immigration lawyers who charged $500 to tell her what she already knew. Her visa was running out. Going home meant leaving Efua without options. Staying meant existing in legal limbo. She chose limbo. She always chose the hard thing. 6 weeks after Vegas, Amma threw up for the third morning in a row. She bought the pregnancy test at a CVS at 2 in the morning, took it in a gas station bathroom because she couldn't wait. 2 lines. Then because denial was a powerful drug, she bought 4 more tests. 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines. The ultrasound tech 3 days later smiled like she was delivering good news. Twins, healthy, 8 weeks along, congratulations. Amma sat in her car in the medical center parking lot and didn't cry. Crying was for people who had time. She had decisions to make: single mother, questionable immigration status, career that demanded 70-hour weeks, family back home depending on her. And somewhere in Seoul, a man whose last name she didn't know, who was probably married by now, who'd been a beautiful mistake, but nothing more. She could do this alone. She'd have to. The call from her supervisor came that afternoon. New assignment, major audit. Kang Entertainment Global, the American subsidiary handling the Korean firm's expansion into streaming and content production. Financial irregularities flagged by internal compliance. They needed their best forensic auditor. Amma took the job. She needed the overtime pay. She needed the distraction. She needed to not think about the 2 lives growing inside her, about how every choice she made now affected 3 people instead of 1. The Kang Entertainment offices occupied 4 floors of a century city tower, glass and steel and the particular hush of serious money. Amma arrived with her team, 3 junior auditors who looked at her like she had answers. She was lead investigator. This was her case. First day was orientation, meeting with department heads, getting access to financial systems, standard procedure. Then they were escorted to the executive conference room for introductions. The door opened, and Amma's world tilted sideways. Joon-ho stood at the head of the table in a charcoal suit, every inch the corporate air. His eyes met hers and something flickered. Shock, recognition, denial. His hand froze halfway through adjusting his tie. Amma forced her face into professional neutrality, years of code switching and corporate survival kicking in. She stepped forward, extended her hand. Amma Mensah, lead auditor, will be conducting a comprehensive review of your financial operations over the next 8 weeks. His palm was warm against hers. The handshake lasted precisely 3 seconds, professional, distant. His voice when he spoke was measured, controlled, nothing like the man who'd laughed with her over street tacos. Kang Joon-ho, Chief Operating Officer, we appreciate your thoroughness. My team will provide full cooperation. The meeting proceeded with the mechanical precision of corporate theater. Revenue projections, compliance frameworks, access protocols. Amma took notes and didn't look at Joon-ho and tried to ignore the way her stomach twisted. Not nausea this time. Something worse. The universe had a cruel sense of humor. The man she'd slept with, the father of her children, ran the company she was auditing. Conflict of interest didn't begin to cover it. Neither did catastrophe. They didn't speak privately, not that day. Joon-ho disappeared into meetings and Amma dove into spreadsheets. Numbers didn't lie. Numbers were safe. By day 3, she'd found the first irregularity, small, almost invisible. Wire transfers to offshore accounts, amounts carefully structured to avoid reporting thresholds. By day 7, she'd mapped a pattern. Money moving through shell companies in Singapore, Dubai, Lagos. Sophisticated, deliberate. Someone inside Kang Entertainment was running a scheme, and they'd gotten very good at hiding it. Amma worked late on day 9. Alone in the conference room, they'd converted into an audit war room. Spreadsheets covered every surface. Her junior auditors had gone home hours ago. She should have left too, but the pattern was there, just beyond her reach. Money laundering, probably. But the destination accounts kept shifting, fragmenting into smaller tributaries that disappeared into financial jurisdictions designed for exactly that purpose. She was mapping the 3rd layer of shell companies when the door opened. Joon-ho stood in the doorway, loosened tie, exhaustion carved into his face. They'd avoided each other for 9 days. 9 days of careful choreography, of hallway encounters where they nodded politely and kept moving. He closed the door behind him. "We need to talk," he said. Amma didn't look up from her laptop. "No, we don't. I'm conducting an audit. You're the subject of that audit. Conversation beyond professional necessity is inappropriate." "You're pregnant?" Not a question. A statement delivered with the flat certainty of someone who'd been doing his own investigation. Her fingers stilled on the keyboard. "That's none of your business." "Is it mine?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Amma finally looked at him, really looked, and saw the same fear she'd been carrying. Fear wrapped in expensive suits and corporate authority, but fear nonetheless. She could lie, should lie. Except she'd never been good at lies, and her body was about to make lying impossible anyway. Twins, she said. 14 weeks due in February, and before you ask, I don't want anything from you. I'm handling it. Joon-ho moved further into the room, and she saw his hands were shaking. The controlled corporate mask cracking. Handling it. You're handling twins alone while auditing my company on a work visa that probably expires before you give birth. I said I don't want anything from you. That's not how this works. This doesn't work at all. Amma stood, anger finally breaking through. You have a wife or a fiancé, whatever, you have a life in Seoul. I have a life here. What happened in Vegas was a mistake, a beautiful, stupid mistake, and now we deal with consequences separately. I'm not married, Joon-ho said quietly. The engagement ended 3 weeks after Vegas. I called it off. That stopped her. Why? Because I couldn't stop thinking about you. Because I went back to Seoul and tried to be what everyone needed, and for the first time in my life I couldn't do it. Because one night with a stranger showed me what I'd been missing. He laughed, bitter. And now that stranger is carrying my children and won't even let me help. Amma sat back down, suddenly exhausted. Your family won't accept this. A random woman you met in Vegas, not Korean, not from your world, pregnant with illegitimate heirs to whatever empire you're building. Do you know what that would do to you? I don't care. You will when your board finds out, when shareholders start asking questions, when your father... My father is dead. The words came out flat. Heart attack 6 weeks ago. I'm running Kang Group now, all of it, and I'm doing it alone because everyone I trusted is either trying to take it from me or use me. So forgive me if I'm not worried about disappointing people. The grief in his voice was raw, unguarded. Amma felt something shift in her chest, not softening, not yet, but recognition again, 2 people drowning, surfacing at the same time. I'm sorry, she said, meaning it. Don't be. Joon-ho pulled out a chair, sat across from her. Tell me what you found in the audit. You've been here 9 days. You found something. Amma's professional instincts warred with common sense. I can't discuss an ongoing investigation with you. That's not how this works. Someone inside my company is stealing. I can feel it. Money going places it shouldn't. Decisions being made without my approval. My head of Asia-Pacific operations, Marcus Delgado, keeps pushing expansion projects that don't make financial sense. My former fiancé's family suddenly has access to contracts they shouldn't. And now you're here, tearing through my books, which means someone flagged something bad enough to trigger a full forensic audit. He was sharp, sharper than she'd expected. Amma weighed her options, partnership or protocol. The rule book said protocol. Her instincts, the ones that had made her the best auditor in her firm, said partnership. Sometimes you needed an insider to see what outsiders missed. Offshore accounts, she said carefully. Structured transactions designed to avoid reporting thresholds. Shell companies layered so deep I need 3 different databases to track them. And a pattern. Money moving to Lagos, Accra, Nairobi. African financial hubs where banking oversight is evolving but still has gaps. Joon-ho's face went hard. How much? So far, 8 million over 18 months, but I'm only at the 3rd layer. There are at least 5 more layers below this, maybe 6. Real number could be 20 million, maybe more. 2. Don't know yet. The authorization codes are encrypted. Whoever set this up knew what they were doing. Professional, patient. This is an amateur hour. Amma pulled up a network diagram on her laptop, nodes and connections spreading like a web. But look at this. These 3 accounts here. They're receiving regular transfers, small amounts, 100,000 here, 50,000 there, and they're all registered to identity theft victims. Joon-ho leaned forward, studying the screen. Identity theft. Names purchased from data breaches. People who don't know their information is being used. Creates a paper trail that leads nowhere because the supposed account holders have no idea these accounts exist. She zoomed in on one cluster. This account, registered to a woman named Comfort Osa in Kumasi, Ghana. According to records, she opened this account last year. Except Comfort Osa is 73 years old and has never left Ghana. She doesn't even have a passport. How did you verify that? Amma's jaw tightened. Because Comfort Osai is my aunt, and when I saw her name in your financial records, I called her. She has no idea her identity was stolen. Neither do the other 47 people on this list. The implications settled over them like ash. This wasn't just corporate fraud. This was targeted, systematic. Someone was using African diaspora communities as cover for international money laundering. People who already existed in bureaucratic shadows, whose names could be borrowed without immediate detection. Joon-ho stood, paced to the window. Century City glittered below, a constellation of ambition and secrets. Marcus has been pushing me to expand our African operations, streaming services, content production, local partnerships. He said it was an untapped market. I authorized the initial funding 6 months ago. Who else has access to these authorization codes? 4 people, me, Marcus, my CFO Daniel Park, and my executive assistant, that's it. He turned back. But Seoul, my former fiancée, she had access too, until the engagement ended. She was part of the family, technically. She was at strategy meetings, saw planning documents. Yoon Seoul, Amma typed the name, cross-referencing. Her family owns media companies, right? Television, print, digital. And a private equity firm. They invest in emerging markets, including African tech startups. Joon-ho's eyes narrowed. You think she's involved? I think whoever's running this needed 2 things. Access to Kang Group's financial systems and a legitimate way to move money into African markets without raising flags. A media heiress with PE connections fits that profile. Before Joon-ho could respond, Amma's laptop chimed. New email. Her junior auditor working from home must have found something. She opened it, read 3 lines, and felt ice slide down her spine. What? Joon-ho saw her face change. My cousin, Efua, the one who needs surgery. Amma's voice sounded distant even to herself. Her medical debt, $40,000 she borrowed from a private lender when the hospitals wouldn't extend credit. I just found where that loan came from. She turned the laptop so he could see. The lending company. A subsidiary of a subsidiary buried 6 layers deep. But when you pulled back far enough, the ownership structure became clear. The loan that was killing her cousin, the debt that had driven Amma to work herself into exhaustion, had been issued by a company that fed money back into the same network she'd been tracing. The same network stealing from Kang Group. They targeted her, Amma whispered. They knew she was my cousin. They knew I'd do anything to help her. This whole thing, it's not just about stealing from your company. It's about control. Leverage. They're building pressure points. Joon-ho crouched beside her chair and she realized she was shaking. We're going to stop them. Whoever they are, we're going to burn this whole operation down. We, Amma looked at him. You still think there's a we? You're carrying my children. Someone is targeting your family. Your audit just became personal for both of us. His hand covered hers on the desk, warm and steady. So yes, we. Amma wanted to pull away, wanted to maintain professional distance, to handle this alone like she handled everything. But exhaustion and fear and 14 weeks of pretending she was fine finally cracked her armor. She let his hand stay. Okay, she said. But I'm still lead investigator. This is my case. Wouldn't have it any other way. They worked until 3 in the morning, mapping connections, building a case. When Amma finally stood to leave, dizziness hit her like a wave. The room tilted and Joon-ho caught her before she hit the floor. His arms solid, his voice sharp with panic. Hospital now. I'm fine, just tired. You just collapsed. That's not fine. He drove her to Cedars-Sinai, stayed while they ran tests, held her hand through the ultrasound. The technician smiled, pointed to the screen where 2 tiny forms floated in grainy gray, heartbeats like drums. Strong, healthy, perfect. Twins definitely run in your family, the tech said cheerfully. Both looking great, but Mom, you need to slow down. Your blood pressure is elevated, you're dehydrated, and you've lost weight. These babies need you healthy. Amma nodded, not trusting herself to speak. Joon-ho stared at the screen like it held the answer to questions he hadn't known to ask. When the tech left, he turned to her. Move in with me. What? You're alone, working 70-hour weeks, not eating enough, stressed to the breaking point. I have a house in Malibu, 4 bedrooms, private, secure. You can work from there, I'll commute. You'll have space, help, and someone making sure you don't collapse again. That's insane. That's practical, his voice softened. I know you don't need saving, I know you're capable of handling anything, but you don't have to, not anymore. Let me help, please. Amma closed her eyes. Pride versus pragmatism. Independence versus survival. The baby's kicked, faint flutter against her palm, not her decision alone anymore. Trial basis, she said finally. If it doesn't work, I leave, no arguments. Deal. They left the hospital as dawn broke over Lowe's Angels, the city waking to another day of beautiful lies. Neither of them saw the car parked across the street, or the camera capturing their exit, or the man behind the wheel making a phone call to Seoul. The Malibu house sat on a cliff overlooking the Pacific, all glass walls and open space designed to make you forget the world existed beyond the waves. Amma moved in with one suitcase and a laptop bag, still half convinced this was a terrible idea. Joon-ho gave her the primary bedroom, took the guest room himself, maintained respectful distance. They were partners in an investigation. Co-parents of children not yet born. Anything else was complicated, and they had enough complications. The audit continued. Amma worked from the house, her junior auditors handling on-site document review while she coordinated remotely. Deeper into the network she went, following money through Singapore, Switzerland, Lagos, back to Los Angeles. The pattern became clearer. Someone wasn't just stealing from Kang Group. They were building an empire of their own, using stolen funds to finance legitimate businesses that would eventually swallow the host. A corporate parasite. Joon-ho brought files home, board meeting minutes, investment proposals, personnel records. Together, they built the case. Marcus Delgado had been with Kang Group for 3 years, hired by Joon-ho's father as a strategic consultant. Harvard MBA, Goldman Sachs background, impeccable credentials. But his recommendations all pointed the same direction. Expansion into markets where oversight was weak, where money could move freely, where questions came slowly, if at all. He's been planning this since he started, Amma said, highlighting another transfer. Your father brought in a viper. My father brought in what the board wanted, foreign expertise, Wall Street credibility, someone who understood American markets. Joon-ho's voice was bitter. I should have seen it. You were grieving. People miss things when they're grieving. They fell into a rhythm. Morning strategy sessions over coffee, Amma drinking decaf and complaining about it. Afternoons apart working their separate angles. Evenings reviewing findings, ordering takeout, arguing over details. Slowly, without meaning to, they built something fragile and real. Not romance, not yet, but partnership. Trust earned in spreadsheets and late-night phone calls to federal investigators. The twins kicked more now. Strong enough that Joon-ho could feel them when he pressed his palm to her stomach, his eyes widening with wonder each time. He talked to them in Korean, soft words Amma didn't understand but recognized as promises. He'd installed a nursery designer app on his phone, showed her paint colors and crib options during lunch breaks. She pretended to be annoyed. She wasn't. 3 weeks into living together, Marcus made his move. Amma was testifying to a federal grand jury, presenting evidence of wire fraud and identity theft. Her junior auditors were at Kang Entertainment, securing the last financial records. Joon-ho was in a board meeting, pushing through restructuring plans that would close the gaps Marcus had exploited. Everything was coordinated, precise. They were hours from Marcus's arrest. That's when the media story broke. Korean financial tabloids first, then American business press. Leaked documents showing Kang Joon-ho in a relationship with his company's auditor, photos of them leaving the hospital together. Bank records allegedly showing payments from Joon-ho to Amma's account. The narrative was devastating. Corrupt auditor sleeping with her subject. Corporate heir-bribing investigators. A conspiracy to hide Kang Group's financial problems while looting what remained. None of it was true. All of it was believable enough to destroy them both. Amma's phone exploded with calls. Her firm's managing partners demanding explanations, federal prosecutors questioning her credibility, immigration authorities noting her visa status. The carefully built case against Marcus wobbled as his lawyers screamed about tainted evidence and compromised investigations. Joon-ho's board called an emergency meeting. Vote of no confidence, demand for his resignation. His own executives turning on him, smelling blood. Marcus sat at that table, face carefully neutral, and watched the empire crumble. Amma sat in the Malibu house, watching her career implode in real time. Years of work, her reputation, the visa that kept her in America, all of it circling the drain because she'd made the mistake of sleeping with the wrong man, because she'd been vulnerable for one night and now paid for it every day. Her phone rang, unknown number she almost didn't answer. Ms. Mensah. The voice was smooth, American-friendly. My name is Marcus Delgado. I think we should talk. We have nothing to discuss. I disagree. You're a brilliant auditor. You found things even I didn't think could be found. That's impressive. That's valuable. A pause. I'm prepared to make this all go away. The media storm, the investigation, the visa problems, all of it. You drop your audit, provide testimony that Kang Entertainment's finances are clean, and I'll ensure you're compensated generously. Enough to pay for your cousin's surgery. Enough to secure permanent residency. Enough to build the life you want. You're offering me a bribe. I'm offering you a solution. You're a single mother about to have twins, questionable legal status, no family support in this country. Fighting me will destroy you. Working with me will save you. His voice hardened. Think about those babies. Think about what's best for them. Alma's hand moved to her stomach, protective. And if I refuse? Then things get worse. Much worse. You think today was bad. Tomorrow, there are photos of you with other Kang Entertainment executives. Next week, evidence that you've been manipulating audit findings for months. By the time I'm done, you'll be facing criminal charges in 2 countries, and those babies will be born while you're fighting deportation. You're threatening my children. I'm protecting my interests. Your children are just collateral. Marcus's tone shifted, almost sympathetic. I don't want to hurt you, Ms. Mensah. You stumbled into something bigger than you understood. Walk away, take the money, raise your family in peace. That's the smart choice. Alma ended the call, hands shaking with rage. The smart choice, take the bribe, disappear. Let Marcus win because fighting him was too dangerous, too costly. The smart choice was survival. It always had been. She called Joon-ho. We need to talk now. He arrived 30 minutes later, tie gone, face haggard. The board meeting had been brutal. They'd given him 48 hours to resign or face removal. His own company. His father's legacy. Slipping through his fingers because he'd trusted the wrong people and loved the wrong woman. Marcus called me, Alma said. Offered a bribe, threatened my children, promised to destroy me if I don't back down. Joon-ho's expression went cold. Did you record it? No, it was too fast, she stopped. Wait, my phone, it auto-uploads to cloud backup, everything, all calls. They found the recording. Marcus's voice clear, incriminating, perfect. Bribery, witness tampering, threats against a federal witness. Enough to add years to whatever sentence he'd eventually face. They had him. We send this to the prosecutors, Joon-ho said. Tonight, along with everything else we've found, we bury him. He'll retaliate. The media campaign will get worse. Let it. Joon-ho took her hands and his grip was fierce. We tell the truth, all of it, Vegas, the pregnancy, why you're living here. We get ahead of the narrative. Yes, we're together. Yes, it's complicated. But you're the best auditor your firm has ever had and you found a $20 million fraud ring. That's not scandal. That's heroism. Alma wanted to believe him. Wanted to believe that truth mattered more than optics, that competence outweighed complications. But she'd lived in America long enough to know better. Single black woman, foreign, pregnant, involved with her audit subject. The story wrote itself, and it wasn't a hero's journey. We might lose everything, she said quietly. Then we lose it fighting. He pressed his forehead to hers, and she felt him trembling. I can't do what my father did, build empires on lies, sacrifice everything for appearances. I won't. If the price of truth is my company, so be it. But I won't let Marcus hurt you. I won't let him hurt our children. Our children, he said it like a vow. Alma kissed him, not gentle, not tentative, hungry and desperate and real, all the fear and anger and impossible hope pouring between them. They made love on the living room floor, Pacific waves crashing beyond the glass, the world burning down around them while they claimed this one moment of defiance. Afterward, wrapped in blankets, Alma's laptop open beside them, they sent everything to the prosecutors. The recordings, the documents, the network maps, 20 pages of evidence delivered at midnight. Then they waited for dawn and whatever came next. It came faster than expected. 4 a.m., headlights in the driveway, not police, private security, 3 men in dark suits. One knocked, polite, persistent. Alma peered through the window, saw their faces, and knew. Joon-ho. He was beside her instantly, saw the men, understood. Stay inside, lock the doors. What's happening? Marcus is making his next move. If he can't buy you, he'll take you. Joon-ho grabbed his phone, started dialing. I'm calling my security team, Will. The glass behind them exploded, not gunshot, sonic device. High frequency, shattering windows, disorienting anyone inside. Alma fell, hands over her ears, the sound drilling through her skull. Joon-ho tried to reach her, but the men were inside now, moving fast, professional. They grabbed Alma, lifted her bodily. She fought, kicked, screamed. Useless. One of them jammed something into her neck, not a needle. Pressure point, the world grayed out. Don't hurt her, Joon-ho's voice, distant, desperate. She's pregnant. Then she should have taken the deal. Darkness swallowed everything. Alma woke to the smell of industrial carpet and stale air. Her head throbbed, vision blurry, hands zip-tied behind her back. Concrete walls, single door, no windows. Wherever she was, it was designed to swallow sound and hope. She tested the restraints. Tight, professional. Her training kicked in through the panic. Assess, adapt, survive the babies. She forced herself to breathe, to feel, movement. Faint kicks against her ribs. Still there, still fighting. Relief flooded through her, sharp enough to hurt. The door opened. Marcus Delgado stepped in, expensive suit somehow still pristine. He pulled up a folding chair, sat with the casual posture of someone in complete control. Behind him, one of the men from the house stood guard, hand resting on a weapon Amma tried not to think about. "You should have taken the money," Marcus said, not unkindly. "Smart people usually do, but you're not just smart. You're principled. That's admirable, also inconvenient." "Where am I?" Kang Entertainment warehouse in San Pedro, officially closed for renovation. No security cameras inside. No witnesses, very private. He leaned forward. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to access Kang Group's central servers and delete every audit file you created, every backup, every piece of evidence linking me to the African accounts. Then you're going to submit a final report stating that all financial irregularities were accounting errors now corrected. Do this and you walk out of here. Your children are born healthy, Efua gets her surgery, everyone wins." "And if I refuse?" Marcus gestured to his associate, who stepped forward with a tablet. Video feed. Live, Joon-ho in another room, similarly restrained, blood trickling from a cut above his eye. Amma's breath stopped. "He tried to follow you, brave, stupid, very on-brand." Marcus's tone remained conversational. "You refuse, he dies. You comply, but try anything clever, technical, sabotage, hidden messages, whatever, he dies. You tell the prosecutors anything about tonight, he dies." He paused, let that sink in. "You have leverage over me, Ms. Mensah, those recordings, that evidence, but I have leverage too, so we're going to trade your evidence for his life, simple." Amma's mind raced. The files were backed up across multiple systems. Her firm's servers, federal databases, cloud storage. Even if she deleted her copies, the evidence existed elsewhere. Marcus knew this, which meant he needed something else, credibility, her testimony. If she recanted, claimed the audit was flawed, it would poison everything. Cast doubt on evidence already submitted. Give his lawyers ammunition. He didn't need the files destroyed. He needed her destroyed. "You're going to kill us anyway," she said quietly. "Even if I do what you want, we're loose ends." "Not necessarily. Dead auditors create more problems than they solve. Federal investigations, media attention. Much cleaner if you simply disappear, go back to Ghana, raise your children, I'll even fund it generously, offshore account. Anonymous, untraceable, $2 million, that's generational wealth where you come from. Blood money. Money is money, morality is a luxury you can't afford right now." Marcus stood. "You have 1 hour, think about those babies, think about Joon-ho, think about how many people you're willing to sacrifice for principles that won't matter when you're dead." He left. The guard remained silent, watching. Amma tested the zip ties again. No give. The chair was bolted to the floor. No weapons within reach. Nothing but her mind and 1 hour to find an angle. She closed her eyes, forced herself into the space where numbers lived, where problems had solutions if you could see the pattern. The warehouse, San Pedro, industrial district, which meant shipping routes, truck traffic, noise, cover. If she could get out of this room, get to a phone, emergency services would respond. But Marcus had Joon-ho. Any rescue attempt put him at immediate risk, unless the rescue happened simultaneously, multiple locations, coordinated. Her firm, they knew she'd been taken. Joon-ho would have called them before following her. Federal prosecutors knew the case, knew Marcus was dangerous. But involving them meant time, warrants, tactical teams, hours they didn't have. She needed something faster, something Marcus wouldn't expect. Her phone, they'd taken it, obviously. But her laptop had been in the Malibu house, still connected to cloud services, still logged into systems Marcus didn't know about. Her junior auditors had remote access to those same systems for the investigation. If she could trigger the right alert, send the right signal, they'd know something was wrong. The fail-safe. She'd built it weeks ago, paranoid protocol learned from too many cases where witnesses disappeared. A dead man's switch. If she didn't log into her firm's secure server every 12 hours, the system automatically sent her complete case files to a predetermined list. Federal prosecutors, FBI Financial Crimes Division, SEC enforcement, the media, everything, with a single message. If you're reading this, I'm either dead or taken. The evidence below proves Marcus Delgado and Yoon Seo-rin orchestrated systematic fraud. Act immediately. 12 hours since her last login. 8 hours ago, 4 hours left. Marcus didn't know about the fail-safe. Why would he? It was designed for exactly this scenario. Trust no one, prepare for betrayal, ensure the truth survived even if she didn't. All she had to do was wait, and keep Marcus talking long enough that he couldn't move them before the files transmitted. Simple. Except Joon-ho didn't have 4 hours if Marcus decided he was expendable. The babies didn't have 4 hours if stress triggered premature labor. She didn't have 4 hours if Marcus got impatient. Alma opened her eyes, looked at the guard. I need to use the bathroom, pregnant woman, twins. Biology doesn't care about your schedule. He didn't move, professional silence. You want me to pee on this chair, on this floor? Your boss said he needs me functional, hard to type with zip ties, harder when you're sitting in urine. The guard's jaw tightened, not paid enough for this. He spoke into a radio, waited for confirmation, then moved behind her. Cut the zip ties. 2 minutes, try anything and the Korean dies, understand. Alma nodded, stood slowly, blood rushing back into her hands. The guard led her down a hallway, concrete walls, fluorescent lights, doors marked with fading inventory codes. The bathroom was single-stall, industrial, grimy. He waited outside. She locked the door, counted to 5, then examined the space. Small window, reinforced glass, too high, sink, metal, bolted down, toilet tank, ceramic lid, heavy, improvised weapon, better than nothing. She lifted the lid carefully. Quiet, tested the weight, solid, 1 chance. When the guard opened the door, she'd have maybe 2 seconds, hit the head, grab his radio, run, hope, terrible plan, only plan. Alma positioned herself beside the door, flushed the toilet, waited. The door handle turned. She swung the ceramic lid with everything she had. It connected with the guard's temple with a sound like a broken bell. He dropped, not unconscious but dazed, hand fumbling for his weapon. She kicked it away, grabbed his radio, ran. The warehouse was massive, shipping containers stacked like steel mountains, forklifts sleeping in rows. She ran through industrial shadows, radio clutched in her hand, trying to remember the path from the holding room. Voices behind her, shouting. They'd found the guard. She had minutes, maybe less. A door ahead, emergency exit. She slammed into it, triggering an alarm that shrieked through the warehouse. Outside, night air, loading docks, semi-trucks. She ran for the nearest one, tried the cab door, locked, second truck, locked, third open. She climbed in, locked the door behind her, grabbed the CB radio. Truckers still used them. Old technology, reliable. Mayday, mayday, this is Alma Mensah. I'm being held at a warehouse in San Pedro. Armed men, I'm a federal witness. I need police. Now. Static, then a voice, gruff, surprised. Say again. Kidnapping, federal witness. San Pedro Warehouse District, send police. Copy that, calling it in, stay on the line. Footsteps outside, men spreading through the loading area, searching. She crouched below the dashboard, radio pressed to her chest, and prayed speed limits meant something tonight. The voice came back. Police en route, 6 minutes, can you stay hidden? I'll try. What's your status, you hurt? Pregnant 14 weeks, twins, I'm okay for now. Jesus, okay, stay calm, help is coming. Flashlights swept across the truck's windows. Someone tried the door handle, rattled it. Alma held her breath, one hand on her stomach, feeling the babies move, still there, still fighting, like their mother. She's in one of the trucks, Marcus's voice sharp with fury. Find her now. More footlights, systematic search. They'd find her, 30 seconds, maybe less. Alma looked around the cab desperately, keys in the ignition. Driver must have left them, stupid. Lucky she could start the truck, drive through them, ram the fence. Terrible idea, desperate idea, only idea. She twisted the key. The engine roared to life like a mechanical dragon. Gears, she'd driven manual transmission once years ago, Kumasi traffic, her uncle teaching her. Clutch, first gear, gas. The truck lurched forward, clumsy, grinding. Men scattered. She aimed for the fence, metal barrier between her and freedom. Accelerated. The impact was tremendous, metal shrieking. The fence held, then buckled, then tore. The truck burst through onto the street beyond, Alma fighting the wheel, barely controlling the beast. Sirens in the distance, getting closer. She drove toward them, weaving, praying, the truck too big, her experience too small. Red and blue lights appeared ahead. Police. Rescue. She stopped the truck in the middle of the street, climbed out, legs shaking so hard she nearly fell. Alma Mensah, she gasped as officers surrounded her. Federal witness, kidnapped by Marcus Delgado. He has another hostage, Kang Joon-ho, still in the warehouse. You have to get him out, please. The officers were already moving, radios crackling, tactical teams deployed. One officer, a woman with kind eyes, guided Alma to an ambulance. Let the paramedics check you. We'll get your friend. Not my friend, father of my children. Amma laughed, slightly hysterical. And my audit subject, it's complicated. The paramedics smiled gently. Most things are, honey. Let's make sure those babies are okay. They were heartbeats strong. Amma's blood pressure elevated but manageable. Minor bruising from the zip ties. Nothing serious. Miracle. She watched from the ambulance as SWAT teams stormed the warehouse, as Marcus was dragged out in handcuffs, as Joon-ho emerged bruised but walking. Their eyes met across 50 yards of chaos. His expression was pure relief. The fail-safe triggered 30 minutes later. Automatic transmission to every authority Amma had programmed. Her case files, the recordings, network maps, $20 million in fraud traced to Marcus and Seoul. Identity theft affecting 200 African diaspora families. Everything. The evidence bomb detonated across law enforcement and media simultaneously. By dawn, Seoul was arrested at Incheon International Airport trying to flee to Singapore. Her family's private equity firm was frozen. Kang Group's board held an emergency meeting and unanimously reinstated Joon-ho. Federal prosecutors held a press conference praising the audit work that broke the case. Amma's firm issued a statement supporting their lead auditor's integrity and courage. The narrative flipped, corrupt corporate conspiracy foiled by brilliant forensic auditor, heroic executive fighting to save his father's legacy. Love story emerging from chaos, not the story Marcus had written. The true one, messy, complicated, real. Amma spent 2 days in the hospital for observation. Joon-ho never left. He sat beside her bed, held her hand through every checkup, talked to the twins through her stomach. When the doctors finally cleared her for discharge, he helped her to the car with the careful tenderness of someone handling the most precious thing in the world. "Come home," he said quietly. "Not the guest room this time, my room, our room, if you want." Amma studied his face. Bruised, exhausted, absolutely sincere. She thought about independence, about proving she could handle everything alone, about the armor she'd worn for so long that she'd forgotten what skin felt like underneath. "Okay," she said, "home." They drove back to Malibu as sunrise painted the Pacific gold. Inside the house, Joon-ho made her breakfast. Terrible breakfast. Burned eggs and coffee so strong it could strip paint. She ate every bite. They sat on the deck, waves rolling endless below, and planned the next chapter. Victim Restitution Fund. FUA's surgery scheduled for next month. Immigration attorney filing for Amma's permanent residency backed by federal witness protection provisions. Nursery designs. Baby names. Future. "Marry me," Joon-ho said suddenly. "Not because you have to, not because it's practical, because I love you. Because that night in Vegas I met someone real, and I've been trying to find my way back to that ever since. Because our children deserve parents who chose each other, not just circumstance." Amma looked at him. This man who'd been a stranger, then a complication, then a partner, now something more. Something that felt like home despite every reason it shouldn't. She thought about her mother's voice on the phone last night. Proud. Crying. Telling her that love was never a mistake, even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. "Yes," she said, "but I picked the wedding dress, and we're doing both ceremonies, Christian church and traditional Korean. Our children get both worlds." Joon-ho kissed her, tasting like terrible coffee and promise. Deal. 6 months later, Mensah Kang delivered twins at Cedars-Sinai. A boy and a girl, perfectly healthy. FUA flew in from Accra post-surgery, glowing with health. Joon-ho's mother came from Seoul, initially skeptical, won over the moment she held her grandchildren. The nursery had been painted in shades of gold and blue. 2 cribs, 2 cultures, 1 family. Amma returned to work 3 months later, promoted to partner. Her first case was consulting on international fraud networks. She was the expert now, the woman who'd taken down a $20 million conspiracy while pregnant with twins. Her reputation was unassailable. Her visa was permanent. Her family was whole. Marcus Delgado got 15 years in federal prison. Seoul got 12. Both would serve every day. The victims got restitution, not full recovery, never full recovery, but justice, acknowledgement, a chance to rebuild. On their first anniversary, Joon-ho gave Amma a gift, the snow globe from Vegas. He'd gone back, found the same gift shop, bought the same cheap souvenir. She shook it, watching glitter fall over miniature dreams. "Remember when tomorrow didn't exist?" he asked. "We were wrong," Amma said, pulling him close. "Tomorrow exists, we built it together." Outside, the Pacific rolled eternal. Inside, twins babbled in 2 languages. Mensah had come to America with a scholarship and ambition. She'd survived betrayal, kidnapping, and impossible odds. She'd built a family from a single reckless night. She'd turned a mistake into a miracle. And she'd done it by refusing to choose between who she was and who she loved. She'd become both, Ghanaian and Korean, independent and partnered, auditor and mother, survivor and thriver. The story that started with a gunshot in a parking garage ended with laughter in a house by the sea. Not perfect. Perfect was fiction. This was real, messy, beautiful, true, and that was enough, more than enough, everything. If this story moved you, if you believe in love that crosses borders and justice that crosses oceans, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories where courage meets consequence and families are built from impossible choices. Because the best stories aren't about perfect people. They're about real ones, fighting, loving, surviving, together. Share this with someone who needs to remember that no matter how dark the night, dawn always comes, and sometimes it brings twins. If this story moved you, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories where love crosses borders and justice prevails against impossible odds. Share this with someone who needs to remember that even in the darkest moments, hope survives. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our next story. Because the best tales aren't about perfect people. They're about real ones who fight, love, and survive together. What did you think of Kang Joon-ho's journey? Drop a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.